Welcome to this afternoon's webinar. My name is Danny DeCudo, and I'm glad you were able to join us here today. We're super excited about our brand new Google Gadget that was just released last week to everyone from out of our beta. And we're really hyped about this. We've been working really hard and making sure that we got this gadget done as best as we can. And we really think that we've knocked it out of the park here in terms of usability and how much fun it is to use. And I say fun because it really is that good. So I'm glad you were able to join us this afternoon for this webinar. And I'd like to first of all just run through a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, if you do have questions throughout today's webinar, feel free to use the GoToWebinar panel on the right side. If you aren't accustomed to using GoToWebinar, I know we have a mixture of method solution providers and end users here joining us today. If you're not accustomed to using GoToWebinar, on the right-hand side, there's a little panel there where you can actually click on a question panel, and there you're able to post questions. And be sure to keep these questions specific to what we're talking about today, which is the gadget. As you post those questions, we have two members of our team who will be addressing those questions for you. And if they're not able to get you an answer on the panel right away, we'll be able to follow up with you later on. As well, we'll be recording this webinar, so if you have other members of your team that would want to watch this back, or you want to watch this back yourself, you'll be able to do so. We'll be posting that up on our YouTube channel, which you'll be able to see later on. In terms of who's joining us today, we've got two panelists. We've got Ted and we've got Chad. Ted is actually one of our customization solutions specialists, so he deals with helping our method family to get their customization needs taken care of, training, customization packages. So he really had his hands dirty in customizing with Method. And we also have Chad joining us today. He's basically our community person, and he's in charge of really helping everyone in the community with Method, specifically on the forums. And he's also the one actively working on getting training materials out for our Method community, things like manuals and videos and that sort of stuff. So you'll be seeing a lot coming from Chad over the next little while. So we're happy they're here to join us today. Feel free to say hello to them on the panel. Alrighty. So what are we here today talking about? Well, I've already mentioned it, but we're going to be talking about the brand new Gmail gadget that's now available for both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online users. So what is the Gmail gadget? We hear gadget. You may have heard the term thrown around before by different software vendors, but really, what is it? Well, first and foremost, it works right inside of the Gmail interface. So if you're using Gmail, you're accustomed to using a web page to send, receive email, compose emails, and really keep track of your day-to-day business through a web page. So the gadget actually lives right inside of your Gmail interface. So it's not something that goes in the toolbar or something that's loaded on your local computer. It's inside the interface of Gmail. So what can you see from within this Gmail gadget? Well, some of the stuff you can see is your customer's contact information, recent QuickBooks transactions, activities, so activity history, open opportunities, open cases, and also any documents that are linked to that specific customer. So that's some examples of information that you can see within a gadget. And what can you add? Well, there's different things you can add. You can add in contacts. So that means you can add in a new contact to existing customers. You can add in brand new customers or brand new leads directly from the gadget. You can also add in new activities as well as schedule follow-up. Sorry about that, folks. Just 1 second. Sorry about that, folks. We were just got informed that there might have been a little bit of static on the line. So if you are noticing that the voice is a bit off, if you could just let us know via the question panel. Sounds fine for me, but I just want to make sure that I'm not the only one that's receiving that. So we'll continue on. So you can add in new activities as well as schedule follow-up activities, which means that now you can actually proactively make sure you follow up with customers that you're speaking with or you're working with. As well, you can create new opportunities, new cases, and add in documents directly from the Gadget interface. So it definitely gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of adding in new information to Method and without leaving the Gmail interface. Sorry, folks, I'm going to put you on hold again. Just 1 second. So folks, I apologize for this. I'm going to actually try to dial this again. It looks like we're having some audio issues. I do apologize. So just stick on the line. I'm going to try dialing in 1 more minute and see if this helps a little bit so everyone can hear me more clearly. 1 second. Okay, folks, we're back in. Hopefully this is a little bit better. If not, this might be the best we're going to have to do right now. Maybe an issue with GoToWebinar, so hopefully this is a little bit better. So just to continue my last point, I was talking about what we can add and also what we could see within the Gmail gadget. So what are the benefits of using the Gmail gadget? You know, there's the Outlook plugin that we already have. There's obviously other ways of getting data into Method, but what specifically are the benefits of you utilizing the gadget? Well, number one, you're working where you work. Most of the time throughout the day, you're using your email throughout, to communicate with your customers, to communicate with your staff, and really manage your business. So this way, you're actually using the gadget right within your email interface. The second thing is it's fast. So when using the gadget, you'll notice that when I go to demo this, loading information is extremely fast, which makes your job more efficient throughout the day. It's also intelligent. It tries to take some of the normal checkboxes and options that you would normally select through method screens and already pre-fill those boxes for you, therefore, again, making your day faster and doing a little bit of the guessing work for you. And last but not least, which I feel is the most important point, and that's the reason I bolded it in this PowerPoint slide, is it increases your employees' adoption of CRM. So that might sound like a big statement, but really, as much as you go out and purchase a CRM, regardless of it being Method or any other product, the most important thing is, do your users use it? Do your employees love it and use it on a regular basis? If they don't, then there's no point in using a CRM. You're going to lose out on the functionality and lose out on the very purpose of getting the CRM in the first place. So by allowing your staff to work within the Gmail interface where they're already answering emails, it's going to increase your employees' adoption of that CRM and therefore make your business more effective and have the information they need right at their fingertips. All right, so who can actually use the Gmail gadget? So the first and most important thing is Google Apps for Business users are the only users that can utilize the gadget. This is not a Method rule. This is a Gmail rule. And they only allow gadgets to be utilized by Google Apps for Business users. So that means you need to have your email address with your domain at the very end of it. So a quick way to know about that is if you have an @gmail.com address, that is not a Google Apps for Business account. You need to have an @yourdomain.com address. So for example, yourcompanyname.com or cleaners.com. Whatever your email address is, it needs to make sure that it has your domain at the very end of it. The second thing is you need to make sure you're using browser-based versions of Gmail. So things like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, IE, those are all browsers that are supported. Third thing that you need to ensure is that you're using Method CRM or Method CRM Pro. This is more important for legacy users that were using old versions of Method. You need to make sure that you're using the latest version of the CRM to be utilizing the gadget. And last but not least, your users need to be able to actually sign into Method. So if you want to have your employees utilize the gadget within their email interface and have access to that Method data, they need to be Method users and be an active license in your Method account. So what happens if you're not a Google Apps user at this point in time? What can you do? Well, I would say consider switching to Google Apps. and it might be another bold statement, but the thing I wanted to point out is if you actually go to Google's site, you'll notice that you're actually able to set up a Google Apps for Business account for free up to 10 users. And this actually allows you to have a custom email address through Google. So it's something that is available to everyone. There is a paid version as well that does have added benefits like it added storage and so on. But really, if you're just a small business and you're looking to, you have your email hosted somewhere, really take a hard look at Google and especially their free option and see if this is something that will work for you. And if you are using the Google Apps for Business, you'll have access to the Gmail Gadget. And of course, we offer the Gadget free of charge. So as long as you have a Method account, you have access to that Google Apps for Business account. And I actually included the link here to Google's site where they have the different pricings for the various versions of the Google Apps for Business. And you can see here you have the Google Apps free edition for 10 users, and it provides you all the information about what features are available in the free version versus the paid version. So certainly something to consider, especially if you're looking to expand your horizons by utilizing gadgets within your Gmail interface. All right, so I wanted to do a quick poll right now just to see really how many of our Method community right now are actually utilizing Google Apps for Business. So I'm just going to start a quick poll. So if you can just select on the screen whether or not you are using Google Apps right now for your business, or if you're just using regular email, select no. And we'll just give it another second. Alrighty, so it looks like we're almost there. All right, so I'm going to close the poll now. And based on our poll results, we can see that about 53%, so a little over half of our community right now is utilizing Google Apps in their business, and we have about 47% that are not using it. So definitely a higher number than I expected, but hopefully, given the information that we've given today about getting a free Google Apps for Business account for up to 10 users, it might be something you want to consider in your business. All right, so I'm just going to go to the next slide here. And we're going to just actually demo now the gadget. So I'm just going to switch over to my email. So I actually this is my actual live mailbox. And what you can see here is my normal day-to-day Gmail interface. And one of the first things that you'll notice is on the right side, I've got my normal Gmail email interface. But just below that, when I select one of my emails, this panel automatically popped open without me doing anything, right? It automatically just loaded this customer's information. Now I can choose to have this only appear as a bar, or I can choose to have this automatically open up. There is a preference to select that. But what I'm pointing out here is I can automatically see, based on getting this email from Jeff, that Jeff Reynolds already exists within my Method account without me lifting a finger. I didn't have to say load, I didn't have to say go check, I didn't have to copy and paste their email address into some other interface. It automatically loaded this information below here because it found that there was a Jeff Reynolds with that email address in my Method account. So why is this useful? It's giving you instant information and giving your employees instant information about that customer that's sending you an email. You don't have to, if you're a really, really small business and you know every single one of your customers, you may recognize the email address. But if you didn't have the gadget, what's the first thing you needed to do? You would have to go over to QuickBooks or go over to Method and copy and paste that email address in order to locate that customer's information. Here, the gadget automatically knows that Jeff Reynolds exists within my Method account and therefore within QuickBooks. And I get a nice little panel popping up with all of his information. So from here I can see what type of contact is Jeff, and I can see he's a customer. If he was a lead, it would have said lead. I can see his full name, his company name, his title. I can see his current QuickBooks balance in real time. And if I were to go over to QuickBooks online just now and take a look at Jeff Reynolds, I can see here his full contact information and his balance. So it's pulling that directly from QuickBooks online in this case. Would have done the same to QuickBooks desktop. I've got his phone number, his mobile. If I had a pager number entered in for him or a home phone number, those would also show up here. His current email address, and as well as his billing address. And from here I can click on Map, and it'll actually launch over Google Maps with that exact location. So I'm able to get all that information from here. I'm also able to, let's say Jeff called me and said, you know what, or in my email, said, Danny, I'm just calling to pay my outstanding balance. I know I have a $500 balance. Can you please send me a link so that I can pay my account? No problem. So I can reply back to this email, but in my email reply, I can also include a link for our portal where he can go and pay his balance. So how would I do that? Right from this screen, I can click on Generate, and that's going to provide me with a URL, a unique URL for Jeff, and he'll actually be able to log in directly into the portal to pay that balance. So again, I can just copy and paste that and put it right inside my email. I've also got my social media icons. So these will only show up if we have social media information entered in for Jeff. So in this case, I have his Twitter username entered in. I have his Facebook path entered in. I also have his LinkedIn and his website address all entered in his contact record. So I can click on any one of these links and it will automatically open up Twitter or his web page or his LinkedIn profile directly from the Gmail interface, again, without having to go somewhere else. So what else can I do from the Contact Info tab? Well, I can click on Edit, View, and Method, and that's actually going to automatically open up my Method account and also launch Jeff's information right inside of Method. So you'll notice that I didn't have to log into Method at all, and Method automatically took me to my Customers tab and the Edit Customer screen, and I've got all of Jeff's information from here. And I can do the same thing if I had launched, selected another customer, will automatically log me in. I can also choose to add an activity directly from here, and that will bring the Add Activity screen up. So those are just a few things that I can do from the screen. I can also search for a customer in here. So let's say I received an email from a customer that didn't already exist within my Method account. I would actually be able to search for them automatically through here. So let's just say I got an email from, I got an email from Chad. Just a second. There's an email from Chad, and I can see that Chad doesn't exist inside of my Method account. I can choose to add him as a contact, or which would bring up the add contact information, or I can also choose to search contacts. And here I'll be able to search not only by an email address, but I can search by email, name, the phone, the company, title, or billing address. And I can just type that in here, and it will actually search my account. So I can type in here, say Chad, and I'll actually search my Method account to see if there's any matches. So in this case, I can see that Chad is not in my account. But say I wanted to add Chad as a new contact from here. I can go to Add Contact, and I can choose is he a new contact or is he an existing contact. In this case, he's new. And you'll notice that it automatically pre-fills his first name and his last name. How? It's grabbing that information from his email. Here I can also, and it's also pre-filled my email address. It's also filled in the fact that the currently signed in user is d.zacuto, which is me. So I didn't have to fill that in. So all I have to do right from here, I can click on Save. And then I've now added Chad as a new customer directly through my Google interface. So if I were to go over to my Method account, and I were to look at customers and contacts, and I look for Chad, I can see that Chad has already been added in to my Google, or to my Method account. So he now exists in there. And also, if I were to go to QuickBooks Online, and I were to refresh this list, there he is there. There's Chad. So it's automatically added to QuickBooks Online. So it's instantaneous, which means that you don't have to worry about going in and triggering that sync automatically for you. All right, so now that we know how to add in a new contact, and I could have added that as a lead. There's nothing wrong with that, but in this case, I just wanted to add him as a new customer. So beyond adding in, seeing all the contact information, what's the most commonly used areas that you would go and look within the Gadget? Well, first and foremost would be your Transactions tab. So this will actually show you the last 25 most recent transactions you have from QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online. So I can see I have an estimate that was sent to Jeff, I have an invoice, and I also have another estimate that was sent. So I can actually see the last 25 transactions directly from QuickBooks inside of my Gmail interface. I also have the ability to automatically open up any one of these transactions by simply clicking on the transaction. So let's say I wanted to take a look at this overdue invoice. I can click on the specific invoice. Notice that it logs me directly into my Method account, brings me to the Invoice tab, and actually brings up that invoice automatically for me. So again, saving time. Imagine you're receiving this email from a customer, and they're saying, well, I didn't have an invoice for $500. Well, I can see directly from going in here without even going into QuickBooks that we did have an invoice for $500, and it was on June 20th, and that's why there's an outstanding balance. So again, having the information available right at your fingertips is so important. The other thing I have the ability of doing is right from this screen I can launch a new transaction. So if I wanted to add a new estimate or a new invoice, or in this case receive a payment from Jeff, I can click on the payment button, and that's automatically going to again log me into my method account, take me to the receipt payment screen, and bring up the actual payment screen for the amount of $500 without me having to do anything. So it really allows you to navigate fluidly throughout the actual screens without having to do much work. Now, one thing to point out is that we do respect your permissions. So within your method account, so if you've set it up so that your user does not have access to the payment screen, then if they try clicking on a payment from here, it will not let them log into to see that tab link within their method account. So it won't even display those payments in here. So you're actually able to see those restrictions inside the settings area, which we'll show later on. So it does respect your settings that you have depending on what you're displaying and what a user has access to within your account. Okay, so what else can you do from here? Well, now that you can see your most recent transactions, let's just focus on activities. So activities are really a log of my day-to-day business in terms of phone calls I had, emails I received, meetings I have with my contacts. So this activities tab will actually show me the last 25 points of contact that I've had with this specific customer. In this case, it was Jeff Reynolds. So I can see I've got a bunch of different contacts that took place. But let's say I wanted to actually add this email into my account. How do I do that? Well, directly from here, I can click on Add Activity in the bar, or I can click on the Add Activity button. And when I click on that, I'm going to be taken to an Add Activity screen. So from within here, I can actually type in my comments. In this case, Jeff was asking where we're located, so I can just put in my comments, Jeff is a new customer and is interested and to know where we were located. So let's say that was my whole activity, right? Right from here, all I have to do is hit save, and that's it. So now that activity is logged in my method account. I didn't even have to leave my method of my Gmail interface. And if I go back to Jeff's contact information and I click on activities, I can see that newly added activity now shows up in his activity history. And if I were to open up this activity inside my method account, I would see not only that the activity was logged, but if I scroll down, I can also see that that email that was attached to that activity is now automatically added into my method account. So I had that in my history. So it's a really fast way. If you notice, I didn't have to do much entering. There was really just one button, which was Add Activity, and that was it. So there are additional options from within there. Let's say I wanted to go back to Add Activity and log in Jeff. I'm just going to type in the same activity again. So Jeff wanted to know where we were located, provided him with the information. And I'm going to put a second note in here saying, please follow up with Jeff to see if he has any additional questions. So from here, you'll notice that last time I just hit save and hide. Had I chosen to modify the details of this activity, I could have clicked on Edit Activity and changed the defaults that were here. But I actually set these defaults myself. So I'm actually able to go to Settings and select my, in this case I have multiple accounts, I'm going to select my account. And from here, I can actually set default types for my activities. So what do I typically have as my, what do I typically log as my activity type when I receive new emails? I can select that, my default status, and also my default follow-up types. So from here, I can set up a bunch of defaults for my account so that next time when I go to utilize the gadget, it makes it a lot more efficient for me to add in my information. So I'm going to keep the defaults here in this case, but let's say I wanted to now schedule a follow-up for this activity. So I can see here that I want to follow up with Jeff to make sure if he has any additional questions. How do I do that? I can actually just check on the schedule a follow-up checkbox. And from here, you notice that if my default's already set to phone call outgoing, and I'm going to say, you know what, I actually want to follow up with him this Friday. I'm going to change the date, and I'm going to hit save and hide. So now, without leaving the Gmail interface, I can take a look and see I've added my new activity. But if I change my filter view here to shared activities in the future, I can also see that I have my scheduled follow-up to follow up with Jeff. And if I open that up, I'll see that it launches me into Method. And in my related activity comments, I can see the comments from my last activity available to me right away in my interface. So this is important because when I go to make that phone call later on to Joe, following up with him on Friday, I can see my previous notes directly from here. And in fact, I can also scroll down, and had I chosen to add additional comments, I can add in the comments here and then complete the activity. So the idea is have the information directly available in your interface without having to leave Gmail. Okay, so now that we've added in a new activity and we've also scheduled in a follow-up, what are some of the other things that we can do from here? Well, let's say that we wanted to create a new support case. So in other words, Jeff maybe sends us in a screenshot of an error message that he's receiving. And this could be anything. It could be that they received a quote from your company and they're sending it to you, or they could have received a competitive quote from another company and they're sending you a copy of that so that you can maybe negotiate with them and try to make them a better deal. But in either case, Jeff sends you an email or your customer sends you an email with an attachment to it. And you want to create a support case for that. How do you do that through the Gadget? Well, I've got an example of an email here where Jeff has sent me a new email. And with that email, he actually has an attachment of a screenshot of an error message that he's receiving. So how do I log a case for him? Well, I can go to Cases. I can see that Jeff already has an outstanding case, but in this case, I want to create a new case. So I'm going to hit Add Case. And you'll notice that the error message, the subject is already pre-filled with the title of the email. I can choose to add an additional info, or I don't have to. Again, it's based on my defaults, so I can just leave that as is. And from within my activity comments, I can say that Jeff emailed in with an error that he is receiving. Please look into the issue for Jeff. Okay, so I can see here that I've logged in my comments, which are going to be added to my case dialog. I can see that it's assigned to me. If I chose to assign this to someone else, right, let's say that Russell was responsible for this, I can actually select Russell here, and this will send an email notification to Russell letting him know that I've created a new support case for him. But I'm just going to keep it at me for right now. I can also schedule a follow-up. So in this case, I want to make sure that I follow up with Jeff tomorrow. So let's set my follow-up date for tomorrow. And I left it as a high priority. But you'll also notice that there's an attachment section that showed up here. So what's actually happened? When this email was opened up, Method automatically starts to queue the attachments that are on that email to be ready to be sent to Method. So this has not been uploaded just yet, but all I have to do is check on this checkbox. And this means when I save this email, it's actually going to send over the attachment to my Method account and link it to the support case automatically for me. If I had more than one attachment on this particular email, I would have multiple attachments listed here, and I can check off the ones that pertain to the specific case and automatically upload those to my Method account. So let's say I just check that attachment and I hit Save and Hide. So this will actually now create a brand new support case for me. It will add in my activity, including my email, and it will also schedule in my follow-up activity for this specific case. So let's just verify that it did that. So let's take a look at my Jeff's information. If I go to Cases, I can see now that there's two cases that are here for Jeff. I can choose to open up this case by clicking on the case itself, and this will automatically launch me into my Method account and again bring up that specific case. I can take a look at the case dialog and see the information that I logged in about Jeff's case, as well as any existing activities for this case. And if I go under Documents, I can see that I actually have the document that was uploaded, which was the attachment. And in this case, if you're a SmartVault user, and that's what you've got as your primary way of uploading documents, it will automatically upload that document to SmartVault. So if you're using SmartVault with QuickBooks Online, that means that you'll be able to launch the document directly from here. If you're using SmartVault with QuickBooks Desktop, that means that this document would now show up in the customer's record within their in the QuickBooks toolbar. So it makes it really efficient in terms of uploading documents. If you're just using the regular method storage to open and close your documents, then you would just have that document stored within your method account. But let's say I wanted to click on this SmartVault document just to show you that it did go through. It's going to prompt me to log into SmartVault because I haven't logged into SmartVault just yet. Had I been logged into SmartVault earlier today, I would not have had to do this, but I have not been logged in. So I'm just going to sign in for a minute. And then if I open up, I can see there's my screenshot. So it really quickly allows me to upload documents to my account without having to do any work. If I wanted to see that uploaded document directly through my Google Gadget, I can go to Documents, and I can see from here I have 2 documents uploaded for this method account. So the idea here is giving you the ability to really quickly upload attachments that are attached to your email without having to start a download or an upload process. Okay, so now that we can see how cases are utilized, I can also create opportunities from here. So let's say I received an email from Jeff and I wanted to create a new opportunity. I can click on the Opportunities tab link, and I can click on Add Opportunity. And from here, I can add in my new opportunity. So in other words, if Jeff was a new customer, he was potentially looking at utilizing QuickBooks, and we wanted to log that information and make sure that we follow up with him accordingly, I can add the opportunity from here and say my opportunity name is new QB 2013 account. I can put in my expected amount for my deal. So in this case, it's going to be $200. I can put in my comments saying Jeff is interested in QuickBooks 2013. Please follow up with a demo tomorrow. And I can choose to schedule a follow-up meeting for tomorrow. And I can hit Save and Hide. And that's now automatically created a new opportunity for me within my method account. So again, making it really fluid, really easy for me to log that information. If I wanted to add information to a specific existing case or existing opportunity, I can actually click on any one of these tabs, and from the right side, I can click on Add Activity, and that's going to load my activity screen and ensure that under the Edit Details area, this box here for Related To is automatically filled in. So you'll notice that for case, it's automatically selected my case for me. So again, making it really intuitive. And I was talking before about being intelligent. This is one of the reasons why we hide many of the options here, because you as a user or your employees as users of the gadget don't have to worry about filling this information in. It's got that available for you right away. Okay, so definitely that's really a really useful area. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to point out with the gadget that you might find useful, and I'll give you an example of a use case where we've utilized the gadget ourselves. A lot of times when you receive emails from customers, you won't remember whether or not they were a customer in the past or were a brand new customer. But by utilizing the gadget, when you see that email, you'll actually be able to identify that right away. And we experience this within our own business, where we'll receive emails at our generic inbox, and we now can tell directly from receiving that email whether or not this was a customer of ours in the past, whether or not this is a prospect of ours that we worked with in the past. And that way, it better fuels us with information when we're replying back. We can take a quick look at their history and find out why did they end up ending their services with us? Was there something that we could have done better? Did they have an outstanding support case that we can help them with? And it really empowers both you as a business owner and your employees to have better information when dealing with customers. So the last thing I wanted to point out was going back to this settings area. So you as a user of, or as an administrator of your method account, have the ability not only to set defaults for your activities, but you also have the ability to set defaults for your tab links. So why is this important? Well, you notice that when I clicked on Add Invoice or Add Estimate or Add Payment, I went to the Customer's Receipt Payment screen. If you have customization in your account, you may have relabeled that tab link, or your tab link may be located somewhere else. So you actually have the ability here to select a different location for those tab links and for your vendor tab links, as well as your activities area. So you do have the ability to change that. The one thing you're not able to do with the Gadget that is not available is you cannot customize the Gadget. The features are as is. They do get tested by Google on a regular basis to make sure that we're conforming to their rules and regulations. So the ability to have custom apps within the Google interface is not something that Google's ready to do, and not something that we're ready to do at Method as well. So you are able to customize which tab links open up and which screens are launched when you work within the Gadget, but you're not able to actually customize the interface at all. Okay, folks, well, that ends our webinar for today. I'm glad you were able to join us. And like I said, if you have any questions in terms of the Gadget or feature requests for the Gadget, or you just love what we've come up with, definitely visit our website. When you visit our main site here, you'll notice that we have a Help Center area. And when you click on that, you can go to Integrations, Gmail Gadget, and what is the Gmail Gadget. And this will actually give you information on how to get started with the Gadget if you're not already a Google Apps user, as well as some helpful information on navigating and installing the Gadget in your Gmail account. Thank you very much for attending today, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. Bye-bye.